Hello, I'm Alex Mansfield, the host of Manny Talks Shooting, and welcome to another episode. This is the shooting podcast where I talk to individuals all across the shooting industry. We'll talk competition, self-defense, concealed carry. If you like this content, check out our YouTube channel, Manny Talks Shooting. And without further ado, let's get to this episode. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the next installment of Manny Talks Shooting, the shooting podcast where I talk to individuals across state lines, across the internet, because I can, because it's okay, and you enjoy it. But without further ado, let's get to today's title sponsor of the podcast. That is Mr. Go Fast, Don't Suck, Bill Duda himself. Bill's fantastic. He goes to all the major matches that you want to go to, but you can't afford to because responsibilities. So go check out gofastdon'tsuck.net. Get your match jerseys. Get some dry fire decals. Go get yourself a hat because hats are like the new cool thing. Instead of t-shirts, you want hats as swag. Go ahead run over there to gofastdon'tsuck.net. Tell Bill Manny sent you, move on with your day. But without further ado, with all my rambling, let's get to today's guest. Today's guest is Mr. Jimmy Erickson. Jimmy, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing fantastic, and thank you for sitting me down with me on this late October day.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's kind of cool. I met you back in 2020. It's 2021, it seems like, is when I first met you at the Ryan Rocks Charity Blast.
Yes.
Back in
It seems forever ago.
I know, right? It seems like it's been crazy. You know, time flies when you're having fun, but it's crazy. So, for anybody who doesn't actually know who you are, so who are you and how did you get into shooting?
Well, I'm Jimmy Erickson. I shoot for Defiance Arms and DG Bullets, but I got into shooting probably about 5 years ago. My dad and I actually started after a concealed carry class. The host of the class said, "Hey, why don't you come out and shoot some of this with us?" And it was just a loose ruled event. There was really no USPSA or IDPA or any of that sort of gaming to it. So we shot that, and I kind of got hooked. So then I started some Steel Challenge, and one thing led to another. I ended up into USPSA, shooting limited minor, which was a blast. And then I got into shooting major or open major, and I've never looked back.
Yeah, that's usually how it seems. It's like always this gateway drug to the next gun, to the next gun, to the next gun. But
yeah, absolutely.
When you started in USPSA, what gun was that?
I actually started with a Glock 34, and then shortly after that, I upgraded to a custom built Glock 34 from, where was that gun from? I can't even remember where I got that gun from, but it ran great.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. And you said you've been doing this for about 5 years, which is awesome. You know, getting to this.
Yeah.
When I met you back in 2021, I swear to God, you had the hodgepodgeiest open gun.
Yes, I did. I still have that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. It runs great.
Is it? That is freaking awesome because that thing, you look at it and you're like, especially as an RM, you're like, what the F is this thing? I'm like,
yeah.
And then you just keep giving them looks, but it ran, right?
Yep. It always ran. That's because it was so loose and floppy. You could throw it in a bat of concrete and it'd still shoot.
Yeah, that is pretty cool though. That's not bad at all then.
No. Old, wore out.
Yeah, old and wore out. But hey, that's kind of like a Glock, right? You know, they're all just old and reliable.
Pretty much.
What made you want to go from, pretty much essentially straight to open?
I tried somebody's open gun at one of the matches, and it just stuck from there on.
Yeah.
There's just, once you go open, you don't go back. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, it seems like that. I've even decided that I'm only going to shoot open, even though currently I don't have an open gun yet. I've been shooting a carry optics gun in open just because I feel like it.
Yeah, well, it works.
And I even had to hold my own because I was not going to start the next season off being unclassified. I had to make sure my club held a classifier match so it could be classified.
I haven't shot a classifier. I've shot like 2 classifiers all season.
Well, typically my club we don't run classifiers because we'd rather just put more field courses up. But I was like, fuck, we're gonna have to do a special match
Yep.
just to get them in. But so, have you taken any other than that CPL class? Have you taken any formal training?
A couple classes. I shot with Bob Vogel for a little bit, and that was right when I started getting into competition shooting, and that just gave me the basics of learning what I should do and when I should do it. And then it was in between my season of going from limited minor to open that I took a class with Elias Vergillis,
Oh, okay.
and his movement he taught me a lot on my movement. So, but other than that, I'm self-taught. I've done all the books. You know, I've got the Steve Anderson books and the Ben Stoger books, and I've done a little chatting with JJ Rakaza, and you know, just about everybody I could get to talk to me just to kind of peel off whatever little bit of information I could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's pretty cool. And the nicety part of the internet is like no one's that far away. They're just a quick message away. It's not like you got to send them a letter or anything, or wait till you see them at the next match because the internet didn't exist.
Yep. So, and that's one of the best things about this sport is everybody's always so willing to help. They'll give you little tidbits of information here and there, you know.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. Everyone's always willing to either give you the advice you asked for or the advice that you didn't solicit.
Yep.
Which sometimes it's good nor bad, right? It's like there's always the old, it always seems like there's the old guys in the back who are like, "Oh, you got to slow down and get your hits, son." And I'm like,
Yeah. Yep.
"But you're the guys at like the bottom of the fucking match." Like,
Yeah. I have literally never had anybody tell me that.
no one's told me that, but they've definitely told people around me that.
Yeah, I've heard it, but not personally to me.
Yeah,
Usually I get those people and they kind of go off onto a different direction than where I'm at.
yeah, and it's when to who and who not to squad with, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's definitely I think a big thing that some people don't realize is you've got to figure that out is who you squad with and who you don't squad with. But so you talked about your new Defiance gun that your new sponsor. Um, how'd that come about anyway?
Um, well, I had been talking to him for a little while from Jason,
Mm-hmm.
and he hadn't really been started to build open guns yet. So we just kind of went off of a whim and here, you know, you help me, I help you. We went through some renditions and odds and ends like that, and that's that's pretty much it. Was just a reach out to from the internet. I was actually looking to buy a new open gun and upgrade from the SPS, and it just God let it come out, and that's where it stayed.
Well,
I I
that's
talked to many,
go
I
ahead.
talked to many other builders, and you know they're all good. There's you know you can't bash any of them. They all have everybody's going to have a quality control thing once here, once there, or whatever. But he personally kept me in touch with absolutely every step of the process, even to when the fine parts came in. It was a spring plunger that came in, and he that day he sent me the text saying, "Yep, got the last part. It's going together." So
That is pretty cool. That I will say that is pretty cool, especially now. It's there it is. Especially when the builder's super communicative and they want to keep you updated instead of so for the most part most people put out a bunch of money on a gun and they're like, I'll see it in 2 years.
yep, exactly. And his waiting line wasn't that long, and I I just jumped on it as soon as he offered. I was like, yeah, let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew with my knowledge and with his knowledge that we can make something real good.
Mm-hmm. Now, is he mostly was he building limited guns before that?
Yeah, limited single stack. And now he's actually got quite a few open guns out there, it's real nice.
Mm-hmm. It is definitely nice, especially to see, not as necessarily a one-off gun. You can see they can keep repeating the process and repeating the steps to make functional guns.
Yep.
So it looks like your gun, I pulled it up on Instagram to look at it. It looks like what most of your gun is what Chile parts, it seems like.
Yeah, it's got a Chile frame and Chile grip and magwell. And then I don't know what he used for the slide, but it's got a KKM barrel with the full top on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a hybrid barrel. It's got the Akai Shoto comp on it, Atlas Gunworks safeties, red dirt trigger, extra aggressive chili grip is on
Mm-hmm.
that one. It's EGW trigger parts.
Mm-hmm. And
So
yeah,
pretty much all the same stuff everybody else is using.
yep. But it seems that your Hollow Suns survive.
It did. I bought a brand new one for this particular gun, and it was running good. And then I put my gun up the one day after a match, and then I took it out. I was going to do a little dry fire about 4 days later, and the diode wouldn't turn on. So I emailed Holosun up, and they said, "Well, yep, just send it back in, and you know, we'll take a look at it." And I sent it in. They said, "Yep, we received it. Yep, it doesn't work. Yep, we're going to either fix it or we're sending you a new one." And I don't know, it was all in 2 weeks. I had a whole new optic and put on it, but I took the one off my SBS and put on my Anarchy, and that's got that's been on 5 guns now, and it's still solid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see it. You saw it when it was really popular before, like the SIGs all came back out. It was a very popular big window dot. Now you don't see it very much anymore,
Yeah,
but it's still
so
cool.
it is. I like it. It just I don't see the frame or anything. I just see the dot on the target. So I guess even if it had a smaller window, it'd be fine.
Mm-hmm.
It works great for me, and I stuck with it, and I have no issues with it.
Yeah, and that's the cool part, because gear really doesn't matter. Well, we'd like to say the gear doesn't matter, but it's one of those things of when your gear is reliable, it doesn't matter because then it's all about you pulling the trigger as fast and accurately as possible.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, what classification are you currently at in open?
I am. I just clicked over into A class actually.
Well, good, about time.
Yeah, I know. But when you don't shoot much for classifiers, it's hard to get up there.
Yeah, or you shoot major matches and not the right people show up.
Yeah, that's happened too.
Yeah.
So
I
I
mean,
do pretty good on that. I hold my own there at this point.
hmm well, usually around your area, it seems like you are like the heat, right?
Yeah, I pretty much stick in the top. The last match I ended up having a bad mag spring, and I had a failure to feed, causing a jam. So if I would have taken that time, backtracking it, playing the what if game, I would have won high overall on that one too. But I'm almost undefeated in the northern Wisconsin area.
Yeah, that is quite nice. I mean, although there might only be like, no, just he's like only 30 people, but no, that is cool
Yeah.
though. I mean, you
Uh,
still you still get to beat Phil Janicki, but that's not hard. Sorry, Phil, if you listen to this.
I like Phil.
Yeah, Phil's my
I've known
boy.
him.
Yeah. Well, shit, because he's a Michigander who drives all the way over to Rhinelander to shoot.
Yes, he is. I
He,
see it. I shoot with him all the time.
yeah, that's always cool because yeah, he's the match director up there, isn't he?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so gives you all the fun bits, right? You get to
Yep.
shoot with them, and sometimes when you shoot with those people, you don't have to tear down. That's the trick.
Yeah, sometimes, but it's always nice to be respectful and throw that helping hand. They put a lot of work in setting up that match, And
Mm-hmm.
even if not many people show up, I still get a joy shooting it. So I may as well chip in, help in with whatever I can.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. So currently, what drives your shooting to progress?
Um, I just I'm addicted to it. I love it. It feels good. It's when you start shooting and you're that timer goes off, it's like there's nothing else in the world. It's just you and that dot. Completely clear mind, and it's I just always want to improve on that. I want to make sure I'm doing everything I can to its absolute full potential.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I've been that way with pretty much everything.
Yeah. And I think most of us are. It seems like that we all want to be the best we can be at it within our own limitations, but I guess the trick for most of us is figuring out what we can actually do and what's realistic for our skill levels other than, oh, I'm going to go win nationals, but I'm a D class shooter, right? Yeah, I'm going to go win nationals
Yeah,
overall. But yeah. So it seems
I
go ahead.
I very oftenly don't place with my actual classification group.
Mhm.
I get I get labeled as a sandbagger from my buddies, but it's just because I don't shoot that many classifiers.
Yeah. Well, and it seems like, most clubs they don't want to run them because, it's extra really at the grassroots level, it takes away money from the local club because you got to pay it back to USPSA. Because
Yeah,
if you
absolutely.
because then honestly it takes it's a dollar if you looked at it, it's $1.50 a shooter without a classifier. You automatically double that if you have one classifier. So you give away $3.
Yep.
And if you only charge like $20 or $25 on a match fee, you automatically lose $3. If you take cards, there's another $2 that's gone. Plus, I don't know what like your section's like, but at least in the Michigan section, every match, every shooter. So for that match, if you had like 30 shooters, each shooter has to put it $1 out of their match fee goes towards the section fund. So there's another dollar off the top of that. So just
Yeah.
take the more and more you pick off the top, you're losing for the club, which
Yep.
sucks.
Absolutely. And this last year, especially, it was hard getting a good turnout with the way fuel prices are and the way ammo prices are. It's just insane.
Oh yeah, it absolutely is insane. And it's like what were you getting out for local average turnout?
Um, well, Rhinelander, you're looking 20, 25, and then Ripon, a lot of times we'd hit up to 60 in Ripon. And those
Wow.
are my two main that I always go to.
Hmm. Well, that's pretty good. Then I mean, yeah, our average is about 40-ish. Maybe we'll get 42, but it's
Yeah.
it's it's challenging because then you get people. You might have 42 on practice score, and then 6 of them don't show up because they didn't feel like it, and you're like, well, that sucks.
Yep. See that a lot.
Hmm.
They
Well,
say they don't feel like it. What really happened is their wife said no.
yeah, that's when you just disappear in the morning before everyone gets up, right? You just sneak out of the house.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Well, I'm going through a split up, so I don't worry about that anymore.
Yeah, that's yeah, that's a thing. So I see from checking out your Instagram, I
It's
see, yeah, I I see that you switched from the TiVo and you're trying out the convex from Range Panda now after you shot with Eric at Area 5.
yeah.
What are your thoughts between the two of them since you've played with them both?
Um, both are great thumb rests. Uh, I do like the Panda thumb rest better. It's just it sits a little lower, lets me break my wrist into a better lock position for me. Otherwise, my SPS, I'm still running the TiVo on it, and it's a solid thumb rest.
Hmm.
There's no one thumb rest is going to be the solution for everybody. You just gotta play around with whatever you can get your hands on and see where it goes. In fact, I even Eric's thumb rest there, the Panda thumb rest, I modified that to move it farther forwards because I got these long friggin' thumbs, big hands, and I don't like my thumb sitting up that high. I like it pushed down right tight on the side of the frame as it pretty much as low as I can get it.
Well, that's pretty
So and
cool.
that's kind of what determined me to switch it over.
That's pretty nice. And you're right. Nothing's ever going to be exactly good for all types of people, all thumbs, all hands, because everyone's got different size digits.
Yep.
But those are the two lately I've seen the push for, right? Is the Range Panda offerings compared to the TiVo thumb lock. So
Yeah, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of another. I play with them both and see what you like best. And the when I talked to Eric on it, he sent me a loaner and let me play with it for a while. He told me right out, if you like it, buy one. If not, send it back. We're good to go. He told me right out, things don't work for everybody, but he's more than willing to work with people. So, and I respect that a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. And it's cool that he's like, he doesn't get offended if somebody doesn't like his product.
Yeah.
Yeah. So currently, what is your training schedule looking like?
Um, right now it's really gonna start slowing down just due to the fact that winter's hitting up here, so my live fire ain't gonna be nearly what it was. Um, for the most part though, I do pretty much almost all dry fire. Most of my live fire is done at matches or uh adjusting springs or whatever in my gun, making sure I'm zeroed, and then I'll go out and shoot a match and have no problem. But most of my actual training is done dry fire. I do movement, I do it all. It's just it's easier to do when you have 3 kids and not enough money to buy that much ammunition or make that much ammunition, I guess I would say.
Yeah, I mean, and dry fire really can be the key for a lot of people, and some people don't take advantage of it. I know myself. I've been kind of lazy this season. I haven't really done much dry fire.
I'll do upwards 2-3 hours a night of dry fire, especially if I don't have my kiddos on those nights. I'll easily I got nothing better to do. I may as well, you know, grab my gun and go to town and see how much better I can get.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely something really cool to be able to just hammer it out. I have a poor attention span. I'll admit this. My listeners know it too because I'll ramble on about random crap. But I have a bad attention span. So like if my phone boops or something, I'm like, oop. Oh, what were we doing here? Oh yeah, we were dry firing. I guess I got to put this away again.
But I treat it a lot like a workout. There's days that you just aren't gonna want to do it, and if you're not willing to put the work in, you aren't gonna get any better. You got to put that work in.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it definitely shows when people don't want to put the work in and they're just going through the motions, right? And if you're going through the motions, you somewhat don't get the benefit out of it.
Yep. Yeah, you gotta. I'm very. I like Steve Anderson's way of how he does it with the part times and working on beating your part time and taking certain aspects out of it. You can only train one thing at a time. You can't train speed and accuracy together. You got to train your speed, and then as your body gets used to that speed, your accuracy will start to fill in.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. The accuracy will come with speed, or if you speed up, eventually, you'll find that raw speed that you need and all that
Yep.
good stuff. Now, with that being said, you do a lot more dry fire than live fire. How do you prepare for matches then? What's in your mindset and whatnot? How do you really get prepared for a match?
Um, to be honest with you, I just go by faith. I know I'm a very religious person, and God is number one in my life. So I pray before every match. I pray before every stage. And if something bad happens during that stage, well, it's done. It's over with. You can't change it. Just keep moving on. Let it go. I clear my mind, and you know, it's what's gonna happen is gonna happen. You just got to go along with it. So I pretty much I just show up and I shoot.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a good mentality too, right? Like I do believe in the Andersonian way of that's the stage. Leave it out that stage. Be done with it. You can't drag it on to the next one because then your whole match goes downhill from there. It seems like,
Absolutely.
for at least at my skill level, it seems at least that's how it feels like. Luckily enough, I haven't had that problem of dragging the bad stage into the next one.
Yes.
It's usually just me fucking up the next one.
I've done my fair share of that.
Yeah.
You do bad on this one, you do bad on the next one, and yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Some
And
days you win, some days you lose. You just
yeah.
gotta stay humble.
Exactly. And it can't be said better than that. Um, so let's talk. I would like to talk a little bit about the major matches you've shot this year. How many in total have you gotten to shoot this year?
Um, 6, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So I had Minnesota sectional, Wisconsin sectional, Michigan sectional, Ryan Rocks, Area 5. So that's the most I've had in a year so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That next year for me is going to be the big one. I think I'm pushing for 6, but I don't know. We'll figure it out if I can hit 6 or not.
Yeah, I
But
got to
yeah,
see how things are going for with my kiddos before I can plan too many, but I'm definitely planning on hitting 5 again.
there you go. Now, um, so you went to Minnesota. That was the one with Nancy, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I need some eyes on the ground here because all I saw was what was on the internet. Um,
Yeah,
so how many stages at that point have you shot on that match?
4.
Oh, so you're probably almost halfway through the match, right?
Yeah,
You at
3
least
of
got
them I was 3 of those stages I was sitting at 100%.
that's no fun, but you got to save
Uh,
half the ammo.
yeah, I did. But that's a long drive for going home early. That's actually my first DQ ever. I've never been DQ'd until then.
Yeah, and that especially it's got to suck because how far of a drive for you is that?
Um, it ends up being about 5 hours one way.
Ugh, yeah, that sucks.
Yeah,
That's no fun. I would definitely hate to make that drive and then get DQ'd.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's not to drive that. And to be honest with you, the DQ really didn't bother me. Yeah, I was a little upset, but there's they weren't changing their minds on it, no matter how much I proved that there was no way. But they weren't changing their minds, and like I said, you're just better off to let it go. And I uh, I helped out for a little bit after that, but then I ended up heading home because why take an extra day off of work if I didn't have to?
Yeah, because you're gonna take the month because you shot on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
So you would have stayed in the hotel or whatnot, then drove home on Monday.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Why take an extra day off work
Yep.
that you won't get back, right?
Yeah. No, I got home and thank God for my safe travels and loved on my kids and just kept moving forward.
Yeah, exactly. That's all you can do. But now they could have obviously have made that stage a little bit better to not be necessarily a 180 trap, but maybe the ROs weren't right. Maybe they I don't know. I wasn't there, but
Y-
It definitely sucks is when only all the DQs for the match came on one stage.
Yeah, I don't like getting into the back and forth of it, but there's definitely something funky when all the DQs were by the same person on the same stage where she was standing in the same spot doing the same exact thing. And it just seems a little awkward. And her her reasoning is she goes, I saw the front of your holster. And I looked at her, I said, okay, you saw a big deal. You saw the front of my holster. Where was my gun? I'm running a CR Speed Ultra holster. If
Mm-hmm.
you saw the front of my holster, my gun obviously was not in that holster.
You know,
So
I would argue that you don't have a front of your holster because it goes on the
I
trigger guard behind the gun. I'm going to point that
yeah,
out. But
and I tried that. Nah,
mm-hmm.
they weren't having it.
Yeah,
So
but hey, you
oh
can't
well, whatever.
exactly. You can't win them, and you can't win. You can't win some, and you can't lose some. So can't put it too
Exactly.
much into it. But so you also shot Area 5. What did you think of that match?
I loved Area 5. It was difficult. I made a lot of my own mental errors. Um, some long, far out there mini poppers, everything mini poppers, which I'm totally fine with. It's just I need to remind myself that hey, when they're out there and you're taking a bit of a poke on that, you
Uh-huh.
uh you need to aim down just a hair bit lower to accommodate that bullet rise for that distance.
Mm-hmm. You want to know why we only use mini poppers?
Because everybody trains on big poppers.
No, we only got 4 big poppers.
Yeah,
It's like, well, we're just
I
gonna use
had no
minis.
issues with it.
Yeah, and well, and then the
I
other part is like they're easier to carry because they rip apart from the base, and you just carry 2 halves, and that's a lot lighter
oh
than.
yeah, yeah, heck yeah. No, I loved it. I have no problems with shooting with a match having nothing but mini poppers. I'm fine with it. It's another target, it needs to be shot, so I'm gonna put a bullet on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's really what it comes down to. Is it's just put a bullet on it, and you're okay. Now, I would definitely say that match was definitely a shooting match. That was not a gimme, gimme and gimmicks game.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a solid match. That's probably the best to date that I've shot match wise. Um, Multiple ways of shooting pretty much every stage, and they were well designed. They definitely put you in your challenge aspect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely did. I'm excited for what Ken, the match director, will come up for 2023. I know
Yeah,
I
that'll be interesting. I'll definitely be back.
yeah. Now, honestly, what did you think of the day and a half format?
I'm fine with it. Um, if I can get it all done in one day, I'm fine with that too. Day and a half. It really doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I just heard some people not necessarily complain about it, but they didn't like it as much as one day. But you are shooting 15 stages in a match, and it's kind of fun.
Yep. Yeah. And you get 2 days of shooting out of it. So I was good. I had a great squad, and I couldn't have been happier with the squad and the match and the stages. I didn't live up to my reputation of how well I typically shoot, but I definitely had a blast at that match.
Hmm. Yeah, you definitely did have an awesome squad. You had Eric from Range Panda, Gianni Giordano from Range Panda, um, Andrew Hyder, Chase Rains, Spencer Stein, um, and then couple people from Canada. Well, 2 from Canada,
Yep.
and then I think 1 from Guam. I can't remember where Tony's from, but
Yeah, I think he's from Guam.
he was the only carry optic shooter on the whole squad.
He was. But everybody included him like family too. It was a great squad. And you go out and you squad with I never met any of these guys in I've met Andrew a few times, but I've never actually shot with any of them in my life. So it's I put myself in a squad that's full of open shooters that are definitely grandmasters in the whole aspects of I'm going to learn something off of here. And I definitely did.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And all these guys are still talking to me to this day. We chat back and forth, shoot ideas back and forth. So it's been great.
That is pretty awesome. Thanks, guys, for stopping in the middle of this awesome conversation with Mr. Jimmy Erickson. But we need to talk about the podcast sponsors because they're fabulous and awesome. Got to remember the title sponsor of the podcast, Go Fast, Don't Suck. Go over to Bill, check him out. He's sporting the sport, so you should be supporting him. He's a great dude, funny, and the memes are slightly true. So anyway, guys, so go check out GoFastDon'tSuck.net. Don't forget, run over to huntershdgold.com. Order yourself a pair of glasses from Brian. If you've not seen him at a match, you are sadly mistaken, and you need to go find a match he's at and go see him at his Magical Mystery Tour. He's fabulous, fantastic. He'll let you demo a pair. He's even got candy for you. If you like energy drinks, he's got Kind of Gold. If you're pretty cool, he might even give you a cigar. So go out and check out huntershdgold.com. Thank me later. Can't forget dominatedefense.com. Use the code Manny Talks 10 for 10% off a Mach 1 speed belt combo. Thank me later because you'll have the best belt in the business that's going to last 4 to 5 times longer than any double alpha product. So you guys go over to dominatedefense.com, tell them Manny sent you as well, and move on. Don't forget, we can't forget divtechshop.com. Nathan over there is awesome. If you guys, by the time you listen to this, he'll be on the podcast. So he's coming on. So Manny Talks Shooting for 10% off your order. I just ordered new magnets because I needed a different color to mix it up on this belt. And I got the wife one because she's starting too. So anyways, guys, divtechshop.com. Get your the most affordable, best, awesome strength magnet you need and move on with your day. We can't forget Targets USA makes the finest steel targetry on the planet. Steve Anderson says it, so can I. So it's true because Jason is always innovating and improving. Don't forget to run over to timheronshooting.com. Check out where Tim's going to be teaching at this year and next year and the year beyond because he's very busy and you need to get into a class because he's going to meet you where you are and make you better. Don't forget to run over to rangepanda.com, guys. Go check out Eric Steiner, Gianni Giordano. They're coming out with new things every single day. They're fantastic and they're fabulous. So go and get yourself the newest, I guess it's the magnetic, whatever they call it. It goes on the feed tube of your Dillon case feeder to stop those steel cases. It makes that tube easy to remove without ruining your hand. So go get that. Also, go get every little 3D accessory press accessory you need because you need them and to make your press look cooler. And get a Range Panda sticker. He sends them in all the orders. So put a Range Panda sticker on something and be happy about it. Don't forget, run over to ChiliCustomGunworks.com, guys. Go and get that new grip for your staccato if you want it, or your next open gun or limited gun. Tell your builder you want Chili Custom Gunworks parts because Chili Custom Gunworks parts are amazing. Their grips are grippy. Their frames are awesome. Their mag wells are huge, so when you miss them, the mag goes right in. So they're good with MBX mags, SV mags, whatever floats your boat. Use them. We can't forget my friends over at Laugh and Load, Tony and Jackie over at the Pew Time Podcast. Go check out their merch line. Get their AFT agent shirt and or the Supreme Division shirt and make sure it says open because the hashtag only should open is very true. So guys, I think that's everybody. If I missed you, I'm sorry because I got to put a list right here. So when I'm reading this and doing these, I've got it as a list. But anyway, guys, thank you for stopping and listening to this mini commercial during this conversation with Mr. Jimmy Erickson. Until next time, we'll see you in the end of the episode. Now, has Eric told you that you need to update your press yet?
No, he has not. But I probably won't. I have just signed with Lee Reloading to shoot for them for next year. So I got some goodies coming from them, which I've always reloaded on a Lee. I've never had anything else. My dad reloads on a Dillon, great presses. I just always had the Lee, and I've spent my money on primers and powder, and instead of updating and going into different presses.
I will say I have 2 Lee dies on my kit. I got the Lee U undersized die, and then I got the factory crimp die on my Dillon. Fantastic dies.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
And if you
They
break
always
it,
run. They always look good.
yeah. And if you break it, it's $20.
Yep. Yeah, I've busted a couple parts. It's pretty much my own fault, but they typically take care of it.
Mm-hmm. So what are you loading on a lead Loadmaster then?
Actually, I'm loading on a Pro 4000, and as soon as they get the Pro 6000 up and going, I'll be getting one of those with the full setup on it.
And that's
So the
progressive,
four,
right?
yes,
That's pretty sweet. Well, I'm
so
glad for you. That'll be awesome. And
yeah, yeah,
then
well,
you can crank 2 presses at once.
yeah, no, I don't have enough arm speed for that.
That's what children are
There's
for, though.
Yeah, there's a reason why my right arm is as big as it is, and it's from the reloading press and not what everybody else thinks.
Right? That's funny. That is some funny humor right there, sir. I like that.
Yeah, we all got it.
Mm-hmm. Gotta have some humor. But yeah, so that's kind of cool. You had what? You worked what, 1 or 2 matches this year?
I worked one match this year.
You worked the Wisconsin sectional at Rhinelander because it's so
Yeah.
close.
Yep.
That's pretty sweet. Now, what did you think of that experience this year? How was that?
Uh, it was great. Once again, you get the camaraderie and going around talking to other shooters that you typically wouldn't get to talk to while you're actually shooting. So it was it was nice. And I got to make all my own stage plans ahead of time and watch how many people shot it in a funky way that really didn't pay off to their advantage. But I enjoyed it. I'm already set up to work next year's Wisconsin sectionals. So
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, and it's cool. I feel that it's cool to give back. Even if it's 1 or 2 matches a year. You know, give something back to the
it
people
is.
who.
They put a lot of work into setting this stuff up, and not enough people appreciate it. They just want to come, they want to do their thing, and they want to leave. Well, sooner or later, nobody's going to be doing it, and we aren't going to have any matches left because nobody wants to take it over. Nobody wants to help out.
Yeah, and it seems like currently that the old guard, well, the older gentlemen, the older crowd are the ones setting up a match, and you typically don't see any younger folks out there putting walls together, putting them on the ground, and you're right.
Yeah,
Without those younger people coming in, we're not going to have a sport. We're going to stand in shooting boxes again and shoot 25 yards or something because that's all they want to set up.
yeah, because they don't want to take the time. It's a lot of work, especially you start carrying out them steel poppers and a Texas Star or whatever. That's a lot of work. It's not light. They're all older gentlemen and women.
Mm-hmm.
They can't, their bodies aren't going to take it that much longer. So somebody's got to jump in and somebody's got to give them a hand. Somebody's going to have to take it over.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's my kind of goal is lately has been to be able to take over. I got lucky enough. I got pushed into being the match director for the Michigan sectional in 2023. So I'm learning at a very fast pace of what the heck goes on. So,
Yeah. Well, I hope to see you there again next year. I definitely plan on going back.
well, I'll be happy to see you, and we'll definitely have it's scheduled and slated out to be freaking awesome. So I'm really excited about that. Um, for sure. But yeah, I'm really excited about that one. So. But yeah, I am. And now I've kind of lost my train of thought, but that's okay because I can come up with something out of my butt. Long as I don't stop talking, the listeners don't care, or at least most of
You're
them.
just keep your plug off the camera. I don't want to see it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But yeah. So looking into those matches next year, have you thought about trying to go to nationals?
I have. In fact, um, I thought about it this year and things just didn't play out to my advantage. I was actually my first choice was going to be the Infinity Open in Texas, and my buddy Will Stowe, him and I were going to hook together and go and shoot that one together. But of course, they canceled it
Mm-hmm.
just to like stay going on. We need to get into the politics of it, which was Murby's. It looked like it was going to be a solid match. It was going to be really good, and I was looking that was probably the match I was looking forward to most this last season, and then they canceled it. Typical life, the ones that you want to do the most get canceled.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It always seems like that, right? It's one of those things of you never get around to, or it just seems like the one you expected to be the best, it's always the one that gets shit canned. It's like your buddy's birthday bash, so you're like, oh man, I can't go. I got life crap going on, and you're like, but is what it is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, and then it was too late. I put in for nationals, but I got put on the wait list because of course it was too late. It was already full by the time I filled out for that. And it's just the way it went. Hopefully next year though. I would love to shoot nationals next year. And I'm gonna try for Dragons Cup, but
Mm-hmm.
that's gonna be a tight one. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get there.
Yeah, especially since it's kind of early in our season.
Yeah, absolutely.
A little bit early, but that's typically not the too bad of the issue, except there could be snow on the ground.
Yeah. Well, for us.
Yeah. Oh, well,
I
I
mean,
know it snows in Texas. Don't let them fool you. There is still snow. It doesn't last very
yeah,
long.
yeah, but they say everything's better in Texas except for when it snows. They all turn into big wusses and they shut down cities. You got 3/4 of an inch of snow. Come on, people.
Yeah. Well, and my best friend lives in Austin, so they don't have the infrastructure for snow or ice. It seems like they're like,
Oh,
we get one little snowstorm and that's about it. But they're just like, well, we can't handle it, so we just move on.
I don't slow down from 70 miles an hour until we hit 3 or 4 inches of snow, and then I might lock it in 4-wheel drive.
Yeah. Speaking of four-wheel drive, what do you drive anyway?
I drive a 2015 Ram 1500.
Nice. I drive a 2011 and it rapes my wallet. That's all it does.
Mine's not bad actually. My dad and I built the truck. It's got 6 inches of lift and 37-inch tall mud tires. It's always had mud tires on it its entire life.
Hmm.
I drove that. I drove that from here all the way down to you guys for Area 5 and Ryan Rocks and that, and that's a 8 and almost just a little over 8 hours of a drive.
Hmm.
And I averaged 18. I think it was 18.6 miles to a gallon.
Aren't you lucky? I am barely lucky to get 15 on the highway.
So yeah, we got a Diablo Sports program tuner in it with unlocked ECM. So it's not your stock truck. It's got some tune work done to it.
Is that a V6 or a V8?
It's a V8 5.7 Hemi.
Oh, okay. I think I've got the 4.7, 4.7
Yep.
liter V8. So, but it's a white truck and I hate white trucks. You know why? They pick up so much road contaminant that they just rust. And
Yeah. Yep. Well, white trucks are the hardest trucks to keep clean.
mhm. They hide the crap great, but it just gets on them and underneath them and it starts rusting crap out. I'm having
Yep.
the rocker panels are going on it, and I'm not happy about replacing them because I know it's just going to cost me money.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those where do you keep putting money into it or do you just trade off and get something different at this point?
I can't complain. I bought my truck. Oh God, when did I buy this truck? Maybe I've had it almost 2 years now. I paid $3,000 for it, and it only had like
Yeah.
116,000 miles on it. I'm like, this is too good to pass up. Even though it's at the time it was like, oh, it's just a Dodge. I'm like, but it's like, I like this truck. It's roomy. It's comfortable. But I
Yeah.
like my gas mileage, my little speedy zippy car around too, because it gets me 30.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you can't do things with a car that you can do with a truck.
That is true. Like pull a camper. You can't do that with my car.
No. Or pull my friggin' gun case. Thing weighs a ton.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty true. That is true too. Can't pull it with a gun safe. And you can't put kayaks on top of the car. That's a problem too. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Now, do you have the 6.5 foot bed?
No, I've got the one that's a hair bit shorter than that.
Oh, okay. The
It's
really short bed. Okay.
yeah,
I don't know why they make sure. I
which
don't.
is perfect. It's perfectly fine for me. I couldn't care less. It's never been like a, oh my God, I wish I had a truck with a longer bed.
Mhm. Now, do you
I wish
have
there was a lot of things I had that was longer, and that's definitely not my truck bed.
right? My only complaint about the shortest truck beds is the fact that if you want a piece of like plywood or something or some boards, they're all jacked up out the back and
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah.
People don't like it. Well, they can go around me.
Oh yeah. I
They
mean
got to
that's
catch me.
yeah. Now, do you have the full the back seats? Are they the full doors or are they the quad cab doors?
No, they're the full doors.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the king cab, but it's the one that's just a little bit shorter than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because my rear doors on my truck, they don't open up like a Ford's, like half cab. They open like
Yep.
it opens like a real full door, but it's just that shorter door.
Yeah,
But
it's a shorty.
you wouldn't notice it unless you were looking at a truck that actually had the full doors and then like a king cab right next to it.
Yep.
I will say though, those are really roomy, but they're really long when you put an 8 foot box behind it.
Yeah. Yes, they are. You get that. You get the king cab with the long box on it and a dually. The thing's 9 miles long. Probably need a parking lot to turn around in.
Oh yeah. Now, do you drive with your mirrors up or are they in the down position when you're driving?
No, they're in the down position. I don't need no Dumbo ears on my truck.
Dumbo ears. I always called them moose antlers.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that drives me nuts. It's like you're not a big rig trucker, buddy. Just put your mirrors down.
Mm-hmm.
You aren't getting yourself anywhere here.
Yeah, I only kept them up due to the fact that I had them perfectly adjusted for pulling my camper, and I'm like, I'm used to these, so I'll leave them up. And then I think I let somebody borrow my truck for like 2 months because they were without a vehicle, and they're like,
Yeah,
they just put them down. I'm like, oh whatever. I sold the camper anyway, so I was like, they don't need to be up now.
they do come in handy if you're pulling something real long.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I've actually never personally pulled anything long enough to warrant that. And I've pulled some pretty long trailers. We got the tool trailer and the dump trailer and that we pull regularly, and I've never had an issue with it. My dad, who pulls way more than I do, he never runs his mirrors up either.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's pretty cool. I wish one thing I do wish about Ram trucks. I wish they'd switch their mirrors. I wish they were kind of more like a Ford or a GM mirror style. But that's just me.
Yeah, the thing I notice with the split mirrors is when you're backing up,
Mm-hmm.
you're always looking at that split. That's right where you actually need to see the what's behind you is right where that split would be, and you just never get to see what you want to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always how it seems like, right?
Yep.
So let's get back to these. So, I usually like to ask a couple of these questions. What is something that current Jimmy would like to tell past Jimmy about shooting?
Just let it go. Just don't get worked up. Let everything go.
Do you
So
say do you
when,
sing it like Elsa?
yeah, no, I don't. Especially not with this crackly voice from this head cold that I got going on. But
Yeah.
in my earlier days where I put I put a ton of time in doing dry fire one winter, and it was my first year shooting USPSA, and I come in and I was thinking, yeah, I'm gonna do pretty good. I'm gonna clean up real well because I put all this time in, and I just made my own mistakes. My mental game just wasn't there. My my footwork, my draws, my actual shooting was there, but my mental work wasn't there. So, and then I wouldn't do as good as I thought I would do on a stage, and I get upset. It it is what it is. And I've actually I've gotten really good with that. My mental game's pretty solid at this point, but I tell myself let it go and shoot open sooner.
Yeah. Well, those are some pretty awesome words that I think a lot of people should hear. Just shoot open, do it now. Just max out your credit cards if you have to, but just get an
Yeah,
open gun. And
well, it doesn't cost as much as everybody thinks to get into open. You can do it for a pretty reasonable price. Um,
mhm.
I bought my first open gun I, for like 2 grand, and I had the holster, and it came with a bunch of mags and all that. And I was into open and shooting for 2K, and then you just got your reloading press and all your other stuff. It really doesn't cost much more to load 9 major than it does to load 9 minor, and it's
Mhm.
about a wash for 40.
Yeah.
You got a little bit more powder, and that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, depending on what powder you have to go to or whatnot, the price of per pound. But
Yep.
speaking of powder, what powder do you run?
I uh I run Shooter's World Major Pistol Powder behind a 125 grain DG bullet.
Have you been having issues finding Shooters World Major powder still?
I don't. My dad's got a good connection, so he talks with the owner herself, and so we've got a good stockpile. Let's just put it that way.
That's good. Because I do know some shooters who have been using, Major Pistol and they've been having a hell of a time finding it. So,
I've heard that too. You know, it's one of those things where for a while there, reloading supplies were almost impossible to find. People were scarfing them up so fast. Luckily, I was stocked up on. I'm good on powder yet. Starting to get a little low on primers. That's going to scare me here in a little bit when I pull my pocketbook out for primers.
yeah, that's for sure. That's not fun.
No,
That's not fun for sure. So, who have been some of your biggest mentors and supporters in this sport?
well, my parents have been my one of my biggest supporters in the sport, but I just I just go along with it. When I look at people that are shooting the sport, I always look at the best and who's winning the most, who's got the most wins on their belt. So I'd always look for JJ Racaza, Christian Seidler, Casey Adibrio, and actually I switched to open, and I just dove into their what I could find of them on YouTube, and
Hmm.
I just figure out what they were doing and how they're doing it and put my spin on it to make it work for me. So my as far as support, my parents support me, my kids support me, and to be honest with you, that's like all I got.
Hmm.
I don't have much for friends. Um I got the people I shoot with, and our shooting sport, everybody pretty much supports everybody, so there is that too.
Hmm.
But as far as family wise, it's just my kids and my parents. That's all I got.
Well, that's good, and especially like you grew up in a good home where they allow you to love firearms and didn't frown upon it, and they back you and they make it easy.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been shooting guns in general since I was way young. So I it was pretty much all rifle all the way up until my dad got his CPL, and then there was some handgun shooting in there, but nothing major until I was 22, I think, when I got my concealed carry, and
Hmm.
that's when it all started. That's when my actual love for guns really kicked in gear. Um, I'd watch everything and anything I could find on guns, just guns in general. It didn't matter what it was. I loved them all. It, it was it was whatever knowledge I could find. So that went for and then the we really got into the shooting sports and started with the guy who did the CPL class for us, and I shot a little bit of IDPA, and I liked it. It was there's nothing wrong with it. Not necessarily my style anymore, and I shot a little bit of steel challenge. Steel challenge, it just doesn't have the movement for me. Great fun to shoot, but I I hit USPSA and I've never looked back. That's where it's at for me. I love the movement and the you figuring out what's the best way for your skill set to shoot a stage is that's the game right there.
Hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, whatever your game style is, what your plan is, it's all you, right?
Right.
Hmm. That's pretty awesome. Now we are near the end of the podcast, but we need to go plug the people who help pay the bills. So go ahead and plug your sponsors again, so we can show them some love.
So my gun's built by Jason at Defiance Arms. It's a Anarchy mid-length bowling gun. The probably the best customer service that I've done with any work with to date. Um, DG bullets. I've been shooting their bullets for about 4 years now. It I never have any issues. I don't even have issues with shooting their coated bullets through my open gun. My open gun has never seen a regular bullet in its life. It's always been coated bullet from DG. Uh, Fox River or Fox Valley Custom Kydex. That's who makes my mag pouches. I wanted something solid, something that was going to hold my big stick. That's going to, is when you put some pressure to the ground running. I don't want I don't want anything falling out. And I've had some issues with that in the past with some of the other stuff I ran. So we worked together, and he built me some mag pouches that I can run a fully loaded big stick and never ever worry about it falling out. In fact, I've actually mounted them upside down and took off across the field, and I never lost a mag. So they still draw nice. They pull out just fine. And then new for next year is going to be Lee reloading for reloading presses and their dies. That's all I've ever personally ran. I ran some Mighty Armory dies for a while there. Good dies, no issues with the dies. Uh, but I always went back to the Lee. They just they always ran smooth for me. So why change what's not broken?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's it for sponsors. I don't have a ton of sponsors. The ones I have are really good to me, and I've benefited a lot from them. So thank you guys. If you guys are listening to this, thank you. I'm very grateful for it. God has blessed me with you guys, and I pray that God blesses them with, real good business for many years to come.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely, yeah, and I'm sure they'll get attached to this, and then they'll appreciate all the kind words for sure, because it gets around, right? All the good faith
It
and good support we
it
give
does.
people, it gets back around, even though it might be the small little connections of so and so shares it to this person. It eventually gets there.
Absolutely. I get a lot of questions on why I shoot coated bullets in my open gun. So and what bullets I'm shooting. That's like other than what gun are you running for open? That's the question. What's your load for open? So I get to talk about my gun sponsor and my bullet sponsor a lot.
Well, that's always good then, right? Makes it easy, right? It makes it kind of organic, that's for sure.
It does. It almost sells itself.
Yeah, that is true. Well, Jimmy, I want to thank you for coming on, because this has actually been quite fun for me. Getting to learn more a little bit about you than just seeing you at matches and whatnot. So it's been awesome to hear your story.
Absolutely.
And listeners, thank you for checking out this video. Until next time, guys, get out and do the things, and I will see you on the next one.